Hi everyone, it's been months, maybe a year since I'd last did a live, and I wasn't intending to do it today, and all my technology went a bit crazy, so I thought maybe it was telling me not to do a live. But then I thought there's so many people right now that are going through real challenge. It's the world as we know it is changing. And for many people, this will be extremely hard. Now, for me, I'm normally quite isolated anyway, and I don't really see many people. I live quite a quiet life, so in a way, the government legislation and all the different things that are getting put in place to isolate us in the UK is kind of my normal life, so it's surreal to me. But I know that for many people, it's not your normal life. For many people, you're very busy, you're social, you're working, you've got a routine in place, you maybe have children, and the idea that you might have to be isolated from others to practice social distancing may be absolutely terrifying. And for someone who experiences anxiety, I know what fear feels like. I know what panic attacks feel like. I know what it feels like to lie in bed at night and have insomnia and have a million things whirring around your head where you're trying to work out how to work things out, how you're going to get through this time and what's going to happen to the world in the meantime. And I really empathise with how you're feeling right now. It's really, really scary for a lot of people. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of some ideas for what to do during self-isolation, because I'm an introvert, and if you're an extrovert, you may find self-isolation even harder than introverts, because introverts tend to quite like our own company. We maybe have a bit more quieter life. We tend not to like crowds of people. We like one-on-ones. So for introverts, it may be our time finally. But beyond that, the fact that we're going to be limited, and sometimes it might be against our choice, and feeling like we're not free anymore, feeling claustrophobic, feeling bored, frustrated, and people who might not have had mental health issues may start to have mental health issues like depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder with obsessive cleaning. And I just want you to really take care of yourself at this time and accept that you're not going to be feeling in a state of order and calm for a little while. We're in a chaotic time, and when there is chaos, which actually is the precursor for change and new and awakening in the world, when there is chaos, we can't make order out of it. So what happens is we fight against the disorder, we try and control our lives, and all of the control measures are gone. We can't control. They weren't even there anyway. If we're honest, it's an illusion of control that we think that we had. So first of all, just try and accept that you can't control right now, that if anything, all you can do is ride the wave of change. And like I've said on a recent podcast that's coming up today, expect the unexpected and know that you're going to feel sad, you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel afraid, you're going to feel so many feelings, and it's perfectly natural and perfectly normal. And you're really not alone in all of this. And I know there are people who will be completely alone. Maybe you won't see anybody at all, and that may be really terrifying. Now, we've got the internet, which is great. We can keep in contact with people. But I want you to try and just take some moments in your day to acknowledge how you're feeling, and take some much deeper breaths, because it's not going to end for a while. This will continue for some time, for the world at large. in a way, we're having to accept that there is no future and we can't rely on the past, and all we have is here now, and this is what we've got to rely on, the fact that we can be mindfully present of who we are, where we are, and we can use this as an awakening process. We can use this to discover who we are beyond all of the doing, because many people in the world, through work, through status, through getting attention, through socializing, through everything that they normally do, once that's taken away, many people will be faced with who they really are. And this is where learning meditation and mindfulness will really come in handy. Even if you've poo-pooed it and thought it was all rubbish, it's worth doing it, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. And I just want to send you a whole lot of love right now, because that's all we can do. We've got to accept that we're human, and we're going to feel so much right now, and it's all okay. And when you feel panic and stressed and challenged about how you're going to handle what's coming or what is, just say to yourself, it's okay. Right now, I'm okay. I can't control what's coming. I can't control the future. All I've got is here right now, and that's okay. And yes, things might get challenging in the future. We may lose people. We may experience so much during this time. And all we can do is embrace what arises and what arrives at our door. So try not to resist it. That is the hardest thing for most people right now. It's fighting against what's happening. We're wanting control. We're wanting things to put in place from the governments and to control how safe we are. We want to stop the virus coming to us. We want to do so many things. But sometimes we just got to surrender and accept that we can't control the uncontrollable. And this is part of life. And we've been living under the illusion that we can control life and that we can order our life in certain boxes in certain ways, but all we've got is now. And so I just wanted to go through a very short list of things to do for self-isolation, for people who have never self-isolated, for people who have never been isolated, and for people who have never had a lack of routine or a lack of socializing, a lack of identity coming from the outer world. What you can do. Now, as someone who works from home, I know a little bit about what to do and what not to do. Now, you might be tempted to just sleep for longer, to not get dressed all day, to watch TV all day. But I tell you this, that will become very boring and very frustrating very quickly. And it also makes you lose your motivation and your lack of energy, and you can feel your self-esteem plummet when you're not feeling like you're giving or doing something in the world. So some little tips that you can do when you start your isolation. Make sure that you don't spend a lot of time in bed. Try and get up early in the morning, maybe not as early as you did for work, but set your alarm and get up, get dressed. If you're a woman, put some makeup on. If you're a man, put some makeup on if that's your thing. Get dressed into clothing that you would wear as if you were going out to meet somebody else out in the world, like you were having a meeting or you're going to work. Put your shoes on. You can wear slippers from time to time, I do, but you've got to do this to make yourself feel like you're actually alive, that you've got purpose. And that's one thing that I had to learn quickly, because when I first started working from home, I would come to the computer, I'd wear my dressing gown, my slippers, I'd watch TV too much, I'd browse the internet for hours, and it was really depressing. It makes you depressed after a while. So that's my number one tip, is to start having a new routine from home. And number two is, if you're isolating because you're sick or you've got full-on lockdown in your country, do exercise still. Now, exercise running up and down the stairs, jogging on the spot. If If you've got exercise bikes, go on them, walk up and down your house, dance to music. That's what you can do on the inside. But on the outside, if you're able to simply go for exercise still, you can walk around your local area if you don't drive. It may not be pretty, but you'll feel better after it. Do at least 20 minutes a day. Now, if you have a car, that's a bonus. You can drive out into the countryside, into nature. You can get involved with your local environment and see places you've not seen before. So I really recommend that you do the exercise, because if you don't, you'll just get really sluggish. Emotionally and mentally, you'll get really exhausted really quickly. And we're in this for the long haul, so really take care. Now, number 3 I would do is begin to make a list of things you can do. This is really important, because if you just kind of get on the internet first thing in the morning, you have your cup of coffee and you literally surf it all day, by the evening you are going to be so exhausted once again, and you'll be stressed from looking at all the news and all the media, and it's not good. So make a list of things you can do around the house. You can do DIY. You can clean the house. Maybe you haven't been a big cleaner and you can finally get things organised. You can start art. You can do a new hobby. If you're lucky enough to have a garden, you can really immerse yourself in your garden. You can write on your computer or by hand if you haven't got a computer. You can talk with your friends and family via video phone or on the telephone. You can meditate. You can bake cookies, cakes, whatever, just don't do too much. You can educate yourself. You can learn a new language. And you can also prepare your food in advance, so you can do a lot of cooking and put it in your freezer if you've got the space. And definitely make sure you see and watch and listen to a lot of humour and comedy to lift your spirits, and it's really good for the immune system. Now, they're just a number of things that I would do, but you might have different things that you love doing. You might do knitting, crocheting, doing up your motorbike, car, whatever, pottering around in your garage. There's things that can be done. You make a list and you can do 4 things on that list a day or more, or you can put the list into a big box and randomly pick a number of things you can do every day, just to keep things spontaneous so you don't get bored. And number 4, if you're self-isolating, I would definitely say minimalise how much television you watch. Minimalise how much games you play on the computer. Because while it's good on the short term, just doing it now and again, maybe a couple of hours, 3 hours a day, if you do it all day, it's the same as surfing the internet all day. It's brain draining. It's exhausting, and you'll not be able to keep it up, and you might end up fighting with your family and your loved ones. You really need to have some sort of routine and activity at this time. And my 5th tip, which is probably the most important, is accepting what is. Accept your reality. It's changing, it's new, things may change again, and try and drop as much resistance as possible to what is in your life. Accept that you may be on your own for a while, and everybody's on their own separately, but we're all in this together, and we don't need to be alone. There are online forums, there are online groups, there are a lot of people setting up video chats if you're on your own completely. So Google them, search for them on Facebook, and just try and not think that this is the end of your life as you know it. And I know there are a lot of other challenges. There is health challenges, there is fear of losing loved ones, there is money challenges, but you just got to deal with them one thing at a time, one step at a time, and take it easy as you do it. Don't expect to do it all at once, and don't expect to be comfortable with this new reality immediately. It will take time to get into this routine. So that's all I'm going to say for now, and I'm hopefully going to do this weekly, because I think that having a face, having somebody talk is really soothing to me. So I'm hoping that I'm encouraging and supporting you in your self-isolation too. And don't forget, I've got a weekly podcast for mental health, and I talk about everything to do with mental health. The coronavirus, right now I'm talking about how to cope with the chaos, and so much more. And they're only about 15 minutes long, so they're not too long, so you can play it on your Alexa device or your smart speaker, or just do it on your telephone, on your mobile phone I should say, and it's really easy to listen to. So I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.